porque en el amor no he tenido suerte.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera, and we are back at it with the live discussions with Diamond podcast. And today's special guest we have is going to be a fun one. But before we get started, just letting you know that this episode will be featured on Spotify. We're also available on Facebook and YouTube and other streaming platforms. And honestly, tonight's guest, people, I'm really excited for. Here, me in New York, we're going all the way to the California area, Los Angeles specifically. And we have here all the way from Bachatopia, representing Los Angeles, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Vince Torres.
What's up? What up?
What is up? How was that introduction for you? Was that good enough?
Yeah, that was that. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it could be great, but it was good. But but first of all, man, Vince, thank you again for coming on to this platform. As we've talked privately, I've seen your work for so many years, and realizing as we talked as well that kind of our history coincided many years ago. But seeing how much you've grown and how much you've really transitioned and reinvented yourself over the years, it is a pleasure to have you on this podcast.
It is a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, for me as well, what I do with this platform here is us as artists, us as creatives, people see what we do publicly in the public eye on social media, but also I feel these same people that appreciate what we do in the public eye also should have an understanding of who we are as people, as human beings. You know, you're not just DJ Invincible all the time. Am I correct?
Absolutely not.
And of course, here we got to give a big shout out to the one and only DJ Amesqua saying AL Beans.
Yeah, and people who it's because some people with accents say my name correctly, so instead of Vince, they say Beans. So he calls me Beans, and you know.
Oh man. But Vince, my thing too is realizing that I would say definitely in the California area, LA specifically, it being kind of the glitz and glam, as they say, Hollywood. One thing I appreciate on your end is the events you've been a part of, the events you've created, that atmosphere, that ambiance is something different. But also, I have to give a big shout out to the one and only Robert Sanchez Media, because again, we realize with visuals and over time, those matter. Those give the people who want to attend your events that like, all right, I gotta go. But before we get started into really understanding who you were before then, my number one question to you is, how have you been? Like, how has things been for you in 2022 thus far?
Blessed. Definitely a blessing for sure. The work has come from all over the place, and I'll for sure never take it for granted. Never did, but even more so now than ever, because 2020 was just, we all know it was just a year of just, I don't know if we can cuss on here, but it's just,
you can say whatever you want on here.
It was shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's been nothing but a blessing to see people again, like to be able to hang out and work and play music for people and not just be, on the live stream playing for people like we used to do, remember? So
yeah, man. I mean, hey, and listen, it's people like you that while we were especially going through that initial stages of the pandemic, there were artists like yourselves and I that, in a sense of, again, we're keeping the people entertained, but having people still understand that we're still passionate about the community and want to be there in any capacity.
Absolutely.
And like you said, 2020 was a shitty year for many of us. I mean, and my question to you right now is, I think we also talked about this privately, is do you feel like there is a new kind of generation of dancers in that LA area compared to pre-COVID?
I feel like before the pandemic, we started to see a trickle in of a few new generational dancers coming into the scene. Mm-hmm. And that generation of new dancers was the people that are now listening to bachata on the radio going, hey, there's clubs of this and we can go over here and like hearing people pass by playing bachata. So those kind of people started to trickle in. But now that it's 2022 and it's everywhere, now it's become more of like a every day there's new people, new everybody's coming in at every single club. It's never the same people anymore.
I mean, you're definitely right about that. And I would say I think we both can add to that is bachata really, and I'm gonna say it, I'm a salsero to death, but bachata has taken over. Don't get me wrong. I love my salsa on 1 and 2, Rueda Casino, everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like bachata, especially because with mainstream music and mainstream artists kind of collaborating over time, over the past 10 years at least, I have seen it, but also bachata remixes
Oh yeah.
have been in a crucial mark in that transition for people to introduce them into bachata music. When you're hearing an Adele, when you're hearing like your top 40s remixed into with bachata beats under it, it is intriguing. But I mean, for you, do you feel, if I ask you, has bachata taken over?
Well, being a DJ, Diamond, I'll get killed if I say it has, because I got salsa lovers that I play
Hey,
for.
yes, totally understand.
But I do feel it has there's more of a ratio of bachata being played around the world more than salsa. I try to do my best with the salsa. The thing about me is that I'm glad I'm on the platform to say is that I'm not a social salsa DJ. When you DJ at a social play salsa, you better come with it because that's that underground hard shit. You know,
The mambo.
I don't touch that because we got the Maimbas for that. We got a lot of other people that are keen to knowing what people want in there. You can't put me in a salsa social room and because I'm a club salsa DJ. I'll play Mark Anthony or some shit. And like, what the hell are you playing? You know what I mean? So when people come to the clubs that go to socials, they'll be like, hey, can you play the song, blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, sure, but I'll play something that's Victor Manuel or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm like, that's what I have to play because these people aren't social underground mambo social dancers. I got to play for everybody. So in terms of that, bachata is a bit bigger all around. And I feel like I just try to keep the balance between both. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, Amesqua saying, so that's him saying bachata is taking.
I never said that.
He's trying to start trouble already. But
He's always trying to start some shit.
Even as we start here, understanding where bachata has kind of been a major influence in your career, especially my filming career of being hired at many bachata events now, we also understand when bachata wasn't even a thought.
Ooh.
We remember, and we're going to take it back because, of course, you've had talks with different interviewers about your past, but kind of us getting a glimpse of it, kind of help us understand who Vince Torres was before DJ Invincible. How did you get your start in this dance world?
I started, when we talked privately, we spoke about this, like when the Al Liquid Silvers and all that. I originally got started. I danced ballet folklorico for like 18 years with my uncle. Then I was introduced to Paso de Oro. So I jumped ship from my uncle's thing to Paso de Oro, and they kind of opened the doors for merengue, salsa, bachata, all that stuff. So as getting into all that, I was like, okay, cool. So then I kind of went my own way. Then I met Liquid Silver Productions. And then there was this girl that was on the team, and I was like, damn, she's beautiful. And she was like, I love bachata. And I was like, I gotta learn this. She likes it, I gotta learn it. Don't know what it is. Sounds like a drink, but I'm gonna learn it. So I learned it. And I got more and more into it. And that's when it kind of took over because it was kind of like a let's go out and dance type of thing. And it became so overwhelmingly exciting for me to dance it because I could put my own style in it that I kind of started going on my own. And I would kind of just be like, I'm gonna go out and start dancing. So that took place. And then it was kind of like, well, I'm going on my own. So seeing all the Christian Oviedos, all the Rogelios, all the big time people at the Granada, LA.
Yes.
Sitting there watching, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But I have a style too. I'm gonna ask. So I go to the DJ booth. Hey, can you play a bachata?
I remember those times.
And it's like, I'm not gonna say the DJ's name because he's still around, but he just looked at me like, we don't do that here. It's a salsa club. And that same DJ plays bachata and has bachata nights now.
Oh, wow. Whoever you are, you know who you are, and you know.
Growth. It's growth. You know, you gotta go with the flow, right? But it's just, I remember that when you say like, how was it before I became DJ Invincible? It was me sitting at the club like, hey, there's this place called Stevens. You want to go check it out? What's Stevens? Oh, it's a big salsa night, blah blah blah, and salsa Sunday. So asking DJs to play bachatas before I became a DJ was the hardest thing to do.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like asking your mom to go out with your friends when your homework wasn't done.
Yes. Wow. That's vivid. I love
Look,
it.
like, no, hell no, we ain't playing that here. You know what I mean? So that's how it started for me. And then, and obviously, I got more and more dancing. And then we can talk about that, you know, later. But that's how it started. It was me like this at the club, like, wow.
And you what you spoke of earlier was the Granada, LA. Honestly, for me,
I went,
realizing even in New York with social media, it helps so much. But realizing like Granada, LA, but specifically Steven's Steakhouse.
yeah,
Steven's Steakhouse, I heard was or is the mecca of kind of where things really were like hitting.
that's where
And
those are two places where the places I started. So I don't know which came first, but I just remember those were the two hot spots.
and so, and a question I have for you before we get into kind of that dancing phase of yours, or
Yeah.
that dancing part of your life really was going as a novice, as we can say. Were there any artists to you that when you went to these events that like really caught your eye?
Yes, like I stated earlier, Christian Oviedo.
Mhm.
Remember, there was no bachateros around yet, so it was
Yeah,
only
absolutely.
and then there was Rogelio Moreno. There was actually Zonic, DJ Zonic, Luis Aguilar.
Okay.
Santiago Aguilar. He was one of the people I saw. And then there was a lot of other ones that I saw and I just respected so much. I still respect them, and I see them now, and I'm like, damn, like you guys are the reason like I'm here. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of love and respect for those people. Now the certain ones see me as, oh look, famous Vince now forgets what did I do? I didn't do anything. I just, you know.
Mhm.
And but I still love. I got mad love for all the OGs, and I'm calling you OGs because it's true. You guys paved the way for people like me. If you're listening, so I appreciate that. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, that it really is a sign of maturity, humility, because again, before we were doing this, there were people before us that paved that way.
After us, there's gonna be people doing it as well.
Absolutely. Sooner or later, we will be the OGs.
It's gonna be our kids doing it.
You know, and you're definitely right. And for me, talking to a person like yourself, as we've talked, you know, you going as far back, like you said, even from Outlook with Silver Days, but then you yourself getting into that performing.
Yeah.
So going from just being the person who was in all performers to now you being on stage, what were those experiences like for you?
Man, I remember the first call I ever got to travel somewhere around. I had this one performance I did. Alejandro Rey and I are pretty much the Francisco Vasquez was another one.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot about that one. But that's a key one right there. So Francisco Vasquez and all those guys were main heads. We were the new Francisco Vasquez, Christian Oviedo, Rogelio's, because we brought urban style bachata to LA.
Yeah.
Because remember, before it wasn't like that. It was just bachata was barely like, ooh,
It was a break song. Go to the bathroom, come back, get a drink. Yeah, we remember that.
You know? So it became one of those things where I was like, I had a performance with one person, which don't ever look up that video because it's just embarrassing.
Was it with a guy?
No, it was.
Oh, okay.
It was with the girl that got me into dancing bachata. If you type in Vince and Shirley bachata,
oh my god! See, you just put it out there. I mean,
I'm going to, because it's a learning experience, you know.
Yes.
So that's how it started, and then from there, it was one of those things where you guys were the first ones to do it in LA, pioneers of urban style bachata. Now, let me make it clear, not the creator of bachata in LA. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying the pioneer of urban style bachata being in LA, like hip hop, doing stuff like that with So doing that for a few years, I got with this partner named Joe Quinones, who I love. She's my sister.
Yes.
And we got our first call, and our first call to go travel somewhere to perform was Singapore.
Wow.
Singapore called, and you know what they asked?
What?
Hey, we want to bring you to Singapore. Are you still dancing with that girl that you had that video on YouTube with? And I'm like, damn, that was like, no, I have a new partner. Oh, okay. Can you send us a video of you guys dancing? We would love to bring you out. And
Mm.
and they brought us out. And that was our first experience of traveling. And it was like, wait, we don't have to pay for a flight? They're gonna pay for us?
Oh my! And mind you, there were those times that was like a new thing. But
Oh shit. You know oh, there it is. There it
we
is.
talking about this one. We talking about.
Here for I'm here for all.
Oh man! Oh right. I like the jeans. I like the belt. I mean,
It's
I
just when
see.
it gets to the bachata part, it's just like she's a rag doll. You know, it's just so much. But yeah, that was the first experience. And then from there came the second one, which I made the biggest boo-boo, but it was the best boo-boo I could ever make. And that was a place called France. They called me and they were like, we want to bring you to this event called Kings of Bachata. This is where everything opened up as a performer and teacher and instructor, or yeah, instructor, teacher, performer. So they call me and they go, we want to bring you to France. And I'm like, what? France? And at this point, Joe is doing something else. She's rehearsing. And they're like, yeah, we're going to bring you out, teach us many classes, blah, blah, blah. How much you want? Ready for this? I said, just take us out there. We want to go. And they're like, are you sure? Yeah, just fly us out. I would love to go to France, you know? So they're like, all right, cool. We'll book the flight, this and that, send us your info. I go to Joe. I'm like, Joe, guess what? We're going to France. And they're like, she's like, what? For real? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to France. We're gonna perform. We're gonna teach on a big stage. It's gonna be crazy. She's like, that's awesome. Remember, she's been in it longer than I have.
Oh man! Oh, I already know what's coming, but please keep.
Like, so what's the deal? Like, what are we getting compensated? How much is compensation? This and that. I was like, oh no, there's no compensation. I just told him to fly us out. And she's like,
What the
what? I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, it's France, you know? So we get an argument about that. She's like, you're stupid. Why did you do that? I can't believe it. And I'm like, Joe, it's France. She's like, you don't understand. You got to call me for things like this because I know you're new to it, but I've been doing it for a long time. I've done this. And I should have listened. But let me tell you this, bro. When we went, we took that free trip.
Yeah.
Performed our asses off. We were there with Troy and Georgette. We were there with a lot of other, we were there with Kimberly Rivera. We were there with a bunch of other people. And when we were all said and done with that event, we flew back. We were like, oh, we didn't get no money. It's all right. Phone calls. We want you back here. We want you back. Blah, blah, blah. And that's where it took. We went to France almost 8 times, bro. Because after that one show.
See, that's right there. The opportunities. I have to give a big shout out here to the one and only Johnny William Saravia Escobar here.
What's up?
Want some love out here. And he's even saying that Vince is making me go down memory lane when I started touring as a musician.
Well,
you know, and see, that's right there. That's really a lesson because you realize even the mistakes you make, the opportunities that can come from that, kind of the naivety of that moment, but also realizing, okay, we got to where we did that destination, we did our job, and then we were rewarded. Like you said, right after those phone calls kept coming and coming and coming. But it was also something you said you were working at that time alongside like Troy and Georgette. Right. And for me, I'm not gonna lie, when it came to bachata, it was not Ataca de la Mana.
No, it was
before that. It was Troy and Georgette. That for me, that was my first time ever seeing. And because don't get me wrong, there were people before then that did events. Yeah. I get it, but in terms of like actually seeing a class on a tape or a DVD, it was Troy and Georgette.
The first people I saw was Troy and Georgette.
And it's interesting you said that. Let me ask you a question. Did you ever go to New Orleans a few years back?
I did.
That's where I saw you because I was performing in New Orleans. That's okay. Because you said you and Joe. Yes, because Troy did an event down there, was working, and I saw you.
We did a Boogaloo performance, I think.
Yes, I think I did a routine, but I had my hair colored. Just came back from a Pelicans game. It was craziness. But yes, because I had like a shirt a colorful shirt because I was in a group called Gifted Souls. That's why I'm like, wait, everything just
So we're connecting dots now.
yes. So everything's connecting. But see, as you're talking, it's really also a history and understanding for people who don't know, because when people who see bachata now, they see what they see now. It's
Right.
more of not understanding of that, the events and things that led up to what we can have now. We understand when bachata was an afterthought.
Yeah.
If you thought you were getting more than 2 or 3 songs, you had to really know this DJ. And it was
Yeah.
probably towards the end of that night.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really interesting because to see how far bachata has grown internationally.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But for you then, of course, doing that work with Joe Quiones, big shout out to her. For you then, kind of over the years, was bachata really gaining some attention and steam in the LA area?
Well, at the beginning, no. We actually, Hondo and I, we started off at a festival, and we were like, "Yo," it was Bernard and Sonio's event. No,
Mhm.
it was Outlook with Silver Summer Splash. One of those. We had asked. There's an empty room right there. I had a big ass book of CDs, bro, of all burnt bachatas songs. I was like, "Can we use this room?" And they were like, "For what?" I said, "Well, because we want to do like a little bachata room."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, I mean, why are you? There's nobody gonna go into the bachata room. It's a salsa event, you know.
Mhm.
We just try." And they're like, "All right, go for it." It was like it was like an instructor room. That's what they taught workshops. So they gave us the opportunity. I took my big ass book of CDs, bam, started playing. People started trickling in. We had that room packed, bro. We had the room packed with Monchi, Alexandra, and Frank Reyes, and
Wow.
that's it. And Aventura. That was it. That's all we had.
And what year would you say would this
That
have
was
been?
in 2010, 11? No. Yeah, 2000 like 9, 10.
Wow. And see that's something that sparks because talking to many people like Rodney Rachata, George Elizondo, Nestor from Australia, but many others, realizing 2010 was kind of, I mean, after, of course, Ataca la Mano, what Te Extraño, but realizing that 2010 period, I felt was that blossoming. And
Yeah.
then especially the commercial aspect, of course, with Aventura and such like that. Like you said, 2010 was kind of that year because I remember New York when New York Congress had an event
Yeah.
and Tigre decided to create a bachata room, and after that, things just kept pushing and pushing and pushing.
Exactly. So everybody has their own way.
That's true. So then, really, of course, like you said in LA, coming from where salsa was dominant, or is the dominant kind of the focus and genre, was like you said, going from that little room.
Right.
Was the reception? Was there a lot of pushback, or people will kind of be like, those salseros will slowly try to creep into those rooms? I guess.
Well, the funny thing, the crazy part is that it gained momentum within a small amount of people.
Mhm.
So that those amount of people were kind of like, let's keep doing this. It was kind of like the prohibition days, like let's keep doing this,
Ah.
little areas, this and that. And then came a man by the name of Jorge Contreras. Jorge
Mm.
Contreras was like, he was, I want to say, like the big tester. He was like, why don't we do a bachata room upstairs? I think I'm getting this right. At Stevens, the small room. So main salsa on the main floor, and then the sauna on the third on the second floor. That's
Yes.
the bachata room. So that's where it kind of started. And then those people who like bachata, they were like, oh shoot, okay. Now mind you, bachata's starting to be taught more in this time.
Yes.
So it becomes this thing where people are like, I want to go, I want to go listen, I want to go here, I want to go there. Stevens was the place where it started. And
Mhm.
that's why they call it the place where bachata night started, because they would have a bachata night upstairs. It wasn't a bachata night on the main floor yet. So George,
Mhm.
it went from that to George saying, I want to try a bachata Wednesday night. And that when we heard bachata night, myself, Alejandro Ray, all the bachata people were like this, a night for ourselves, a whole room? No way. We're doing big things. Let's go.
Yes.
And then the night came, 5 people showed up.
Hey, it's a learning experience. But for you, then, actually, that moment happening,
He took a risk.
yes.
And when he took that risk, I'm talking about George here, he took that risk for maybe a few months. There was hardly anybody showing up. But the consistency brought people to come, more and more people, more and more people. And up until then, it just became, it grew and it grew and it grew. And I was part of it too, like showing up every Wednesday. Wednesday was a spot. Wednesday was a spot. And it started off in a little restaurant area. And we would all get together like, hey, this is where a lot of us friends met. And now we're kind of like, what happened to the scene? Where's everybody at? Because we all started in a small little community and it's grown. So that's what it was. It was a whole buildup into what it is known now, which is shout out to DJ So Nasty who runs Bachata Wednesday. So pretty much, George pretty much opened and the opportunity up at Stevens, made a bachata night, and now we felt okay. Well, let's do more bachata nights. So that's pretty much where we're lifted off from.
Okay, so then kind of going from being the novice, slowly getting, of course, into the performing aspect, then seeing that growth of bachata growing in the LA area, but the California area, but also abroad.
Yeah.
Then what was the transition like then to becoming a DJ?
So I was going to all these events and I had a laptop and I'm like, I got good music. I love bachata. Like I would buy albums, I would do all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? The first time I ever DJ'd, I was like, I need salsa music because all I have is bachata.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? So I went to my really good friend, Eder Avila, who runs Entourage. Shout out to Entourage. He gave me a book of CDs with salsa music on it. From that moment when he gave me those book of CDs, I put that and that bachata music, and I was like, let me play this stuff. Mind you, I didn't have an Apple laptop or nothing, so it was CDs. So half the CDs set that he gave me was scratched. I still, there was no Shazam, I think, at the time. I was like, yo, Eder, what's the name of that song? I need it. It has cowbell, and I need that song. And then the bachatas, I started playing bachatas. I'm like, dude, I could do this.
Yeah.
Do this. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, let me try it. Let me just try it. And then I tried it in the IE, which is the Inland Empire.
Yes.
That's where I started my first DJ gig.
And what year would that be?
That was about 2012, 2013.
Wow. And see, the reason I ask these years because you realize it's a timeline.
It's
a gradual thing. And I think as well, realizing a person like yourself that has been in this industry for so long has had that overall experience or overall success, hometown, but then also abroad. Yeah. That's something that you can have a testament to. But then seeing how much bachata has just like the reach of it is endless. And then you have the artists like Bad Bunny, the Drakes, the Ushers, now realizing when you start getting that Latin audience.
Chris Brown too.
Chris Brown. I mean, like the thing is, I have to say is that, in my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I grew up as a salsero. But I realized with bachata, the biggest thing was not just the music, but was the ability to learn. More people were like, I can learn bachata faster than I can learn salsa.
Yeah.
It doesn't take as much effort.
Yeah.
And for you, did you kind of notice that of people saying like,
I think to be honest, that's the reason why I jumped in the bachata lane, because I was like, damn, salsa requires so much connection and constant turns and everything. But that's how I started off. I started off as a salsero, like you. Mm-hmm. But then I got it. I jumped onto the bachata train because not that it was easier, but I mean, yes, it was easier, but that's not the reason why I did it. I did it because I could put my own flavor. I could pop. I could wave. I could do all these like stops and listen. And I was really good with listening to the music. And so that's where the musicality comes from, because I was like, there's more hits that I can feel in bachata than salsa. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to go in this direction a little bit. You know what I mean? So then it kind of took off, and now I'm known as bachata, Prince, salsa. What? So when I dance salsa, it's like, you dance salsa?
You just don't know.
I'm not the best. I'm not the best on two. I don't dance on two. I mean, I try, but on one is my thing. That's how I learned.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, and I definitely understand that because for me as well, even on the New York side, and many people they may be upset when I say this, but a lot of your favorite bachata artists were salseros before. And a lot of them transitioned because they saw the market
of
was
course,
better.
of
And whether
course,
you believe it or not, I can take you down memory lane. I can go to YouTube and help people realize is that a lot of the salseros saw that market of bachata blossoming and went there because in my also opinion, going from performing to now being behind the scenes working with organizers and promoters, the atmosphere in a bachata event I feel is totally different at times, depending even on the city, maybe than a salsa event. The structure is a little, I mean, the structure is primarily the same, but the atmosphere is totally different. I
now
mean,
check this out. Check this out. Going back to what you just said. Sorry to cut you off. I have
no, not at all, not at all.
I'm gonna forget if I don't say it. So what you said right now, the
Mhm.
market, right? So I'm 34. I just turned 34. My birthday was May 15th.
I thought you were 24, man. You got me.
I mean,
Shoot.
I say sorry. The connection of the internet. No, the marketing aspect. A lot of these salseros, these bachateros were salseros first, but they went for the market, right? Remember when Popeyes came out with the chicken sandwich?
Absolutely, and everybody can.
After the Popeyes chicken sandwich, there goes KFC, there goes Burger King, there goes McDonald's. There, everyone's doing the spicy chicken. Oh, Chick-fil-A too.
There goes In and Out. I don't know if In and Out did it yet.
Not yet. Hell no.
Okay, not yet, not yet.
Everyone did it. So it's like everybody jumps on the wagon because it's good for marketing. Not that, oh, let's copy. Well, yeah, but it's a marketing thing. Money, it's revenue. You know what I mean? So when it comes to people, when you say that, that's why I'm not like, oh, look at you. You're playing all the music that I asked you for back in the day, but now you have your own bachata night, this and that. I say it joking around, but hey, I'm happy for you, bro. I'm glad you can put food in your mouth. I'm glad you can pay for shit, but I feel a little bit responsible for that. Just a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I worked hard. I was broke for so many years, bro. Just trying to put. I had an old ass laptop, and I went to downtown LA, and I got this press on Prince thing because I was Vince Bachata Prince, right?
Oh yes, even Carlos here says, I remember everyone calling Vince McChesney.
I put that it was like fake diamonds. It was like and you press on.
Yeah. Oh wow. I remember
that. On the top of my laptop and ironed it on my laptop, bro.
Please tell me your laptop worked.
So the laptop face, the top of it started to rise. It was heating up.
Yeah.
So I worked my ass off to make sure that I had the top music, the best music I had, this and that, blah blah blah. And the transition for me was just it was crazy because it was like, damn, I ain't making no money as a DJ, but I'm getting my name out there. And, I'm not a millionaire, but I'm blessed now because of the work I put in. You know what I mean? And I'm happy. I'm really happy.
And I appreciate that because, to be honest with you, seeing many artists that I knew, what happens is too, whether it's in sports, whether it's in creative arts, a lot of times there is that pushback from the older generation to the present generation. Yeah. It always happens. And realizing is that enough is that people like yourself, you're actually saying this publicly, how you give and you want to give that acknowledgement to the people that paved the way.
Absolutely.
And the thing is realizing because I think a big word that has hurt our community for so long is called pride.
Yeah.
People are so prideful in what they've done or what they want to do that anyone they see else doing it, it's like, whoa, what are you doing? Because again, you're a DJ, but there was a DJ before you. There'll be a DJ after you. But it's also, it's totally different the way you do it. The way you present yourself, you have an actual platform you've created yourself. Yeah. You didn't say, I saw this person, I'm going to take literally everything from head to toe and be just like them.
Yeah.
You've been able to create your own image.
Be me.
But also realizing this as well is that while becoming a public face, you are going to have those behind the scenes, the Twitter warriors, as I call them, the keyboard warriors, that will always find a fault. They will always go to an event and find something wrong with it. It's interesting enough. Carlos Vasquez here says, I am not a millionaire, but I am blessed.
I'm
He's
blessed.
going to put that on the show. You see, like, come
I'm
on.
near a millionaire, but I'm just blessed.
See? But here is what we got to give you acknowledgement because, man, DJ Amesqua says, I am proud of this guy for real. I'm glad to call him a friend and colleague. And again, man, this is why I do this platform, because I think a lot of us also as artists, we have gone through years and years and years of traveling, teaching, organizing, promoting, but a lot of times we don't get that moment of just like, you know, decompressing and realizing everything we've done.
For sure.
Because we're always moving on to the next. So now really my question to you, kind of hitting into that present phase, is, as we talked about as well privately, was with COVID. And we've talked and I said, COVID really changed the perception of our community worldwide.
Yeah.
Because I believe the same people we saw pre-2020, maybe they're still here, but in a different capacity. But also you've seen an influx, like you touched on, of the new generation. And we can talk about this as well, is I feel that the new generation of dancers coming in are more focused or less focused on training than they are just having fun.
Yeah.
And listen, that works well for a promoter who has a Congress festival weekender social. But then those people who have these companies are sometimes going to lose a lot because it's not always them, but it's just how life works. But for you as a promoter and you're watching the community really, what is your thought on that?
Well, for me, I'm just a one-night event. Now, a one-night event is very different from a whole weekend event. There's a lot more time, money, and effort spent into doing that than it is doing just one night. What I will say is this. In my night that I have, I make sure that I have little to no shows. I want to make sure that everyone dances, because the problem with performances is that, not that they're not great, but if you don't bring something that's exciting and entertaining, people don't care, which is why people walk through the middle of the dance while people are performing, which is why people are trying to get their drink and are talking and yelling. They don't appreciate it, because there's so much of it. So unless you're going to come out and grab their attention, then that's what I look for. Otherwise, I won't have any performances. Just dance till 3 a.m. and enjoy your time. I want you to forget about everything else and just be in the moment right there. That's for me on that one night event. When it comes to a weekend event that I've only attended, never run, I can't really say much about what goes behind the scenes and this and that. But what I can say is there's a reason why, and I know this is going to be far-fetched, there's a reason why people pay $400 to see a Broadway performance. There's a reason why people pay $900 for a seat to see this show called like Shin-Yun or Shin-Lun.
Oh, Shin-Yun. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? And why do you pay that? Because you're going to be entertained. It's crazy entertainment, right? I'm not saying these shows aren't entertaining. What I'm saying is that we've gone from, let me see what you have, and if it's good, I'll put you on stage. To, we've gone from that to, tell you what, bring all your performers, let them pay $200, and you get on stage and do your thing, bing, bang, boom. And then what happens? Nobody's at the shows. Where's everybody at? Nobody's performing. Where's all the audience? This and that. You know why? They come at the end of the show. Can you send me the lineup? Can you send me the lineup?
That's the question. That's the who as
the lineup goes to the performers to the whole freaking audience knowing the lineup. And then now it's like a play. Now you're like, okay, so all right, so now Yamalezen, come on. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be upstairs. Just message me real quick before they go on the show. Right?
Yeah, let me know when 15 is up, and then I'll go down. Because it's sad, because everybody deserves a chance to perform. I wanted a chance to perform, and I got that chance. But I was in the end mark of when you had to show a video or
audition. You actually had to audition for a spot at a Congress.
Now, again, I want to make it very clear. Everyone deserves to perform. Yes. And it's not their fault that this is the world that they've come into, which is now pay your performer fee, and I'll get you in. And you can perform on stage. You know what's great? Your family gets to see you perform, your sister, your brother, everything, right? And that's great. But see, you're pulling away from the Congress aspect of it and making it like a recital type thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And again, that's not wrong, but it's the wrong place for it because you have people paying almost $300 for a full performance to see shows, and they're just kind of sitting there and they're just like, and it sucks because they want to be entertained, and
Yes.
these guys on stage are trying to entertain you, but in their eyes are like, this isn't top notch. And it's like, well, damn, they're trying, but that's kind of where we've come into. And I hope and I wish. I kind of see it. I've told a few friends of mine about this. Our scene is kind of like the hip hop scene right now.
Mm-hmm.
More like little this, little that, little this. They come out and they say a few words and they got a hot beat, hot track,
Yeah.
and they say whatever, and then boom, $1 million deal. You know what I mean? So it's the way the world's working right now. I don't think if we do go back to that old way, that'd be great. But if not, it's just the way the world works, and we're gonna have to find a way to go to make it better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And for me, then talking to people like yourself that are a public figure, whether it's a DJing, organizing, and promoting, but like you said, you're also attending other events. You
Yeah.
inadvertently are observing what's happening around you, but you see the demographic, you see how times have changed. And
Yeah.
even now in 2022, there are more events than ever than there was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And but the one thing I can definitely say, and I do agree, is the oversaturation of performances, because what happens is the dichotomy of give these people an opportunity.
Dichotomy.
It's listen, I've over the years I've tried to
right now.
it's the dichotomy of we want to give back, but at what cost?
Damn, I'm using that. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
We want to enable the future, but the quality can be tarnished.
Yeah.
And we want to have this, and this is the reason, because you touched on it, and I've talked to organizers and they have agreed with me, is we will give 200 plus, like bring 50 people,
Yeah.
let them pay $150, $200 each, and my event can actually stay afloat.
It's the marketing. Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people, when they ask me like, why do we have 40, 50 shows a night? It's also because and I'm not saying everyone, but I've talked to organizers that told me if I did not have this, I would not have this event.
Yep. It's called inflation.
I mean, after COVID, these landlords and business and property managers, they could care less about the feeling or how our community, because in reality, it is money based. Unless you have your own stadium, your own event venue that you can throw these events, it's going to be hard to position yourself. But seeing you now in 2022, at least now before we get into our last segment called the randoms, what do you see is happening for DJ Invincible in 2022 that you can speak of?
In 2022?
Yes. And currently this year, what's on the horizon for you?
I feel like I'm bringing a lot. I'm able to bring with the collaboration I have with the Granada LA. We're bringing more artists now, musical artists, performances, artists from out of town to come and perform and teach.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big deal because that never happened. I've been doing this event for 5 years, so it was hard to do that at first, but they gave me an opportunity and they saw that I can do it. And the only team I have is the people in the background, which is the Granada LA and my guy Marco and the whole community who continues to support it. So that's the only team I have, is just myself, Marco, and the Granada LA and the people who are willing to come in, the people at the front, the security, all those guys. So that's pretty much a big deal for me because that's my big event. That's my night. You know what I mean? So that happening, and then me being able to travel out more, and then my son's getting older, so I'm gonna hope to bring him around more things too. Just get him to see certain things, see what dad does, and the ins and outs of, he's not that old yet, so he doesn't understand, but just, see what's up, see what dad does. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that's something to behold, because especially myself having a son in a few months, working in this industry, it's a public industry. You're always going to meet new people. And for me, honestly, having my child in the future, I want them to be a part of it, but I
Yeah,
want them to be gradual. Like
yeah,
you're gonna see my son at a congress with the earmuffs and
of
maybe his
course.
little pad, but he's still understanding what daddy does and the
Absolutely.
filming aspect. But I think too the essence of like having a child of yours when you were a child in this kind of industry, and then actually having a child and having them kind of be ingratiated in it, that's a whole different feeling. And
It
listen,
is.
man, I appreciate what you do because listen, we understand too. There are so many people that are no longer in this kind of business because hey, it's not easy. Not
Yeah,
everybody can survive in it. And honestly, before we get started, even Amesqua here says now some of these venues want $5,000 to $10,000 for the bar. That is a big thing. I've talked about, and people don't get it when I say when you're doing an event at a bar or a lounge, the
yeah.
bar needs to get paid no
Or a
matter what, or a hotel.
hotel. Yeah,
And most of the time, they're not gonna play. They want 1 or 2 drink minimums
yeah.
because if not, y'all not gonna be drinking faucet water in the fucking bathroom or having a fucking bottle stuffed in your pocket or your pants. You
Exactly.
know, this is
And you can't reach that 5 to 10,000, then you pay out of pocket if you can't reach that goal. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Even at bars, clubs, and even at hotels, you got to make at least 20,000 this weekend. If you don't make 20,000, you make 15, you owe us five. You know what I mean? That's the game of the game now. You know what I mean?
and
So
I be seeing some of these promoters that they don't even look like they're enjoying themselves because they're already just looking at the attendance
stress,
and just like
stressing.
even at the times I've asked them like, "Yo, how you doing?" "Ugh, I can't talk right now. I can't talk right now.
Yeah.
Just," and it's like, yo, I
The amount of respect and level of respect I have for these promoters who throw events and organize events is like, I don't know how that feels. I do it one night, that's it. So I commend them for continuing to do it. And if it doesn't work out, I'm not like, your event sucked. That's why I know it's gone now. Nah, it's tough.
yeah.
It's fucking hard. So I commend anyone who has a weekend event and this and that and anything like that. So
Absolutely, man. But I think now it helps us transition to our last segment called the randoms, which
uh-oh.
is about some questions I have here I've developed over our time talking that may deal with dance, but everything in between. So my first question to you, Vince,
Shoot.
is if you could have one last meal right now, what would it be?
Damn. One last meal. I would have to say my last meal would have to be um a tomahawk
Oh,
medium rare steak with mashed potatoes and broccoli, steamed broccoli.
okay, okay. And is it like I feel like there's a restaurant that you're trying to give me or not?
There's one that I went to with a few friends of mine. I forget what it was called. But it was a big old tomahawk steak. I didn't order it because it was like $200. So I was like, maybe next time. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay. Hey, I can enjoy myself a tomahawk steak. I don't know about the vegans though. I
Yeah.
don't know if they fit. All right, next one here is: can you give me an artist to look out for?
As far as dance wise,
Yes, and I'll give you this: give me a dance wise and DJ.
so I will say there's he goes by the name of Rocky DeLuna.
Yes, I've heard of Rocky.
There's a lot of other young cats, but he sticks out in my mind because I've been seeing him work. Like he puts out choreographies like crazy. Um, him for sure. I see him as coming up pretty big. A lot of the artists that I see now are pretty much established. But he's one that I see. I mean, I would say Jarek too, but Jarek just turned 15, so Jarek Hernandez. He's pretty established too, but I mean he skyrockets anytime he touches the dance floor. So I think Rocky. And then as far as DJ wise, there is a DJ I know. He's not really in the scene too much, but when he does, he can get down. He goes by the name of Adric.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't had a lot of. If I want to say this real quick to the upcoming DJs who want to be DJs and stuff like that, please don't come into the scene thinking that remixes and your remixes are going to explode your name because we have this thing. I don't know if it's in New York too, but in LA, we have multiple DJs
Yeah.
who I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle. I respect the work. They want to be producers, and that's great. Now I know this could be another discussion for another day, so I'll just keep it quick and simple and short. But we have a Soultrix. We have many other remixers. So if you want to be a remixer, great. But I would take the time to learn how to really do it before just putting things out there and playing them at clubs, because it makes the remixers that are doing their thing kind of look bad in a way. So DJs that I want to be on the lookout for, if I have a platform to say, is be the DJ that also plays originals and also is organic type shit is what I'm trying to say. Be organic. Do research. Go into bachata 2009s, 2010s. I'm not saying to play that your whole set, but damn, it feels good for people that are dancing to learn what they're dancing, not just hear a Soultrix remix to Pepas.
Oh man.
Oh, my favorite artist is Drake. He's a great bachata artist, and it's like he is because he was on a track, but he's not a bachata artist.
Yeah.
You know? So respect to all the remixers and the people coming out. I respect your hustle. Do it, but invest in it as well. You know, invest in the guitars, invest in the percussion, invest in certain things. And that's what a lot of people like Soultrix do. And that's why they get the level of where they're at, because it's time and effort. You can't just put a bachata beat from YouTube underneath your favorite song and then play it at the club. And then people are like,
nah, that's not fucking.
Then you're known as that guy, that DJ, you know. So I want to be on the lookout for new DJs. I would love to bring you to Bachatopia and all these other events that I have connections to. But just be organic, be you, do research.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's do a softball one. Actually, give me your favorite shade of color.
Oh, space gray.
Oh, are you a Jordan fan?
No.
Okay.
That's why.
Wait, say that again?
When I got my MacBook, they were like, what color do you want? You want gray, space gray? And I was like, space gray? What's that?
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, so now everywhere I'm looking for like shoes or something, like, do they have space gray color? I love space gray.
Okay, I like that. All right, next one here. You, of course, as a DJ, Mr. DJ Invincible. Yes, I know I talked to many DJs as well, and I want to see your answer to this one. What is a go-to song of yours as a DJ?
At the moment, I would say Pinto Picasso.
Okay.
As far as remixes go, I would have to say maybe one. Damn, there's so many remixes, but the ones that do remixes to where you're like throws you out of left field. For example, "My Love" by Justin Timberlake. I think DJ Dimensions.
Oh yes, DJ Dimensions did that one.
That one, things like that, and then also like "In My Bed" by Rotini.
Oh yes,
those remixes that are like, damn, they got production on those. Those are my go-tos. Like depending on where I'm at, traditional wise, it can never go wrong with a little Raulín, with a little Zacarias, you know, Luis Miguel Aramargue. You get there's so many to choose from, but those are like my go-to. Oh, you know what? I gotta get everybody on the floor.
Oh yeah, you can't mess up with that. I mean, you can if you try to remix. Just don't remix it. Keep it original. All right. So this one here is another DJ question because I've asked many DJs and some of them say yes and some of them say hell no.
All right.
Do you take requests?
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely. I take requests.
Okay. And is there in terms of requests, are we saying what is kind of your procedure on that? Is it like when you're at an event, you're in that mode, you have a kind of your set or music you're gonna play? Do you kind of go on the mic and say, hey, if anybody, or like how do you do it?
At a festival, no.
Gotcha.
At a festival, I'm there to play for the people. It's not a club. Some people would say it's like a club because you're playing for people. The difference is I'm not in your face. I'm away on the DJ booth playing songs for you. You can't come to the DJ booth because sometimes security won't let you and to be like, hey, can you play this song? I'm at a festival. I only got an hour set, and then you got another DJ coming up. You know what I mean? For that reason, I don't take requests at a festival. I'll try. They'll be like, what song? And they'll show it to me. And I'll be like, got you. All right. Oh, cool. I'll take it. And then if I get it, I'll play it. Now at a club, see, I used to work in customer service before I was a DJ, before I did all this. I worked at Disneyland. I worked at all the things, Macy's. I worked everything retail. You could think anything you can, I did it. One big thing I learned about customer service is a big deal.
Yes.
My job, I'm blessed because I don't have to work 8 hours and punch in and punch out. And shout out to everybody who does do that, because that's work, you know what I mean? And I'm blessed to do what I do. That being said, you're gonna have to do things that maybe people don't, that you don't want to do. And one of those things is, what you need? Can you play this song by this and that? Obviously, if it's like Elvis Crespo and a bachata, now I'm gonna be like,
please don't, no. I love it. I love Elvis Crespo. Please.
I love me some Elvis Crespo, but not,
Yeah.
The thing about this, and another big thing for DJs to know, if you don't know already, and if I'm the one who's telling you this at 34 and you're older or younger, then hear me out. The person who requests a song for you isn't necessarily there because they want to bug the shit out of you or annoy you with their request. They may have had a shitty ass day at work. They may have just lost someone in their life. They might have just, fought with a friend or a family member.
Yeah.
When they go to that club, there's a chance that 1, 2, 3, 5% will come up to you and be like, "Hey, can you play this song by Romeo and for me, please?" I'm never gonna go, "Hell no, no." I'm gonna say, "I got you," and I'm gonna say, "I got you," and I'm gonna play it. Maybe not next song, maybe not the other one, but I'm not gonna forget. You know what I mean? I do forget sometimes, but for the most part, I will always try my best to play your song. I'll even go as far as getting your phone and taking a picture of the song you want, so I have it in my memory. And I'll go back. I think somebody wanted this. Here's what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
When you constantly come up to me and do this.
Oh, Lord.
That right there is like, okay, all right. So there's this guy on TikTok who said, "I love when people do this." He's a DJ. "I love when people do this. When you could request a song from me and you constantly bug me about it, I'm going to play your song right away. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play 8 bars for you, and then I'm going to switch it to another song because you know what I mean? Yeah. Not only do I have to play for them, but I got to play a song for you. So give me a chance. I got you." Yes. And if not, come remind me in 10, 15 minutes, I'll do it like that. But taking requests is a part of being a DJ. I'm not saying you have to take every request, but if you don't have it, be like, "You know what? I'm going to look for it. And if I don't, I got you on the next one, on next time," or something like that. Just be respectful about it. Kill them with kindness. And I learned that from a very special person by the name of Jim Philippan, the owner and CEO of Steven's Steakhouse, when I used to work for him.
I love it. All right, next one here. Because you are an organizer, can you give a piece of advice for future organizers and what maybe they could expect?
If you are able to work in a place where you have a roof over you, you don't have to pay rent to a roof. All you have to do is provide a good event, and you got a team backing you up. That is nothing for you to say, "Nah, I want everything. I want the door. I want the bar. I want it all." If you're able to have an establishment that backs you up, then go for it. And if you can prove yourself, and they're like, "Hey, what do you want to do? We got you. We'll cover some of it." That's a great experience, a great deal. And also, try your best not to feed in to negative crap, like negative shit online. I know I have my share of doing it once every 5 years, but I try my best to stay out of all the drama, because at the end of the day, if you're going to be an organizer, all eyes on you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some people don't know who I am, Bachdopia, but those who do are watching me, and they'll either be like, "Oh man, if you talk a lot of shit online, this and that, you're going to start losing some people." You know what I mean? And those people tell other people, "He's just a political motherfucker. He just goes on and rants and talks shit, this and that, blah, blah." So if you're going to be a future organizer, stick to yourself, be you, focus on what you're actually trying to organize, not everything else around you.
Okay. I love that. All right. Next one here. Let's take it back to the social scene. You've been in many events over the years. Give me a pet peeve of yours at a social when you are dancing with someone. Someone grabs you to dance. You're on the dance floor, dancing an amazing song. What is something that's a huge pet peeve of yours?
When the leaders don't look around, when you're going to bring her back. I'm not saying to be like, look all the way, but just kind of, take a little peek. If you're going to do one of those sensual ass body rolls, come back, I'm dancing with so and so, and you just stepped all over her shoe, and now or her toe, and now her toe's bleeding, because you didn't look. Be aware of your surroundings as a leader. It's not really the follow's job; it's a leader's job to, be aware of your surroundings. Now there are some follows that will be like, oh, and they'll hold you in place. You're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And I love that. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it should be the leader's job. But getting in the people's way and not knowing your boundary right there is a big deal for me.
Okay. All right. Next one. If you aren't dancing, you are doing blank.
If I'm not dancing, I'm either DJing. If I'm not DJing, then I am with my little man. And if I'm just hanging out at home, chilling, I'm playing some FIFA.
Okay. So if you're playing FIFA, who's your go-to team?
ESG.
Okay. I might have to challenge you with some Real Madrid. We'll see how that goes. Listen, I play a little FIFA. I play some
little Benzema.
Hey, absolutely, man. I love it. I love it. All right, now it brings us to our second to last question here. And this one should be interesting. Can you give me one word to describe yourself?
One word to describe myself would be oh man, that's tough. How do I fun? No. One word to describe myself would be, I want to say maybe overcoming.
You've overcame a lot in your life.
Overcame a lot, and I'm not saying like I had the shittiest childhood, this and that. Just in general, you know what I mean? I think we lost you. There you are. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think it's just on my side. You can keep talking.
Okay. So yeah, I think overcoming, because throughout being in the scene and everything like that, I've overcome a lot of obstacles as far as transitioning from being an instructor, teacher, performer to a DJ to now an MC. I've overcome a lot of people like, why are you doing this and that? Blah, blah, blah. You're not a dancer no more. You're just a DJ now, this and that. So it's overcoming to hear that without being, without getting hurt, because it does hurt. But at the same time, I know who I am. I know what I do. And there's a reason why I keep working. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree. And even Anthony Ramos here says invincible, which will be a nice play. And then even, of course, Carlos says caring. I mean, because, hey, in this business, it can be very cutthroat, but realizing kind of where your baseline is and who you are as a person comes before who you are as an image. I think that is what's important, because sometimes people get into that position. Like you said, you've gotten successful. People feel like, oh, you're different.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest, if I may say, I think as you grow, you do act different. Yeah. You have to change. I mean, you can't be the same 15, 16-year-old that you are at 34. Yeah. I mean, but in reality too, I think as well, in the position that you're in, still keeping that core value, still keeping those people around you that were there from the jump.
Yeah.
That's really essential, because I believe too, those people are the ones that are going to balance you.
Absolutely.
And in this type of field, trust me, 10, 20 years from now, there will be another DJ Invincible.
Yeah, there will be.
But there will never be one with your name and your look, because if that, then
off to Lyric, my son, I might just hand it off to you. You can take
hey. I mean, even Anthony says here he has a picture of you hugging a teddy bear in Reno.
Yeah, that was a joke back in the day when there was a bear holding up a sign, and at the time, Grizzly Dance Company was pretty big. So I was like, look, it's Grizzly Dance Company. And anyway, that's
oh my God. I mean, so, and at least before we get to our last question is, have you been able to kind of look back at everything you've been a part of, and like, is there any like really key lessons before we get to our last question? This is kind of a plus B in a sense, is throughout all of your experiences, what have been some of like the biggest lessons you've learned?
I feel like the biggest lessons I've learned have come from the experience of being in this scene. This scene is great, but it's also kind of toxic too. You know what I mean? And I can't really say what you should and shouldn't do, because you kind of have to go through it to learn whether you belong or you don't. You know what I mean? So I can't be like, well, don't drink too much alcohol because festivals are full of alcohol. Like don't hook up because that's bad for you and your image. You got to learn your image first. You got to know who you are first. You know what I mean? And I've had my share of fuck ups and all that. So I feel like I've become a better person because of it. You know what I mean? So just go through the motions, but just don't get arrested. You know, like
I mean, hey, you know what? Because hey, a record is not easy to take off. So
yeah, don't get in the
that is
scene. Don't get in a fight at the festival. Don't do, just be you and go through the experiences. And if it's bad, learn from it. And if it's good, keep doing it,
okay. I love that. I love that. And now it brings us to our last question here. And I feel like this question here kind of sums up this entire conversation in full. So, Vince, going from your earlier days, and if I have to say your earlier days, what I
Mhm.
mean is if we're going to go from the Vince of this time
Don't you?
and to the Vince of now. My question to you is, man, how would you like to be remembered?
um, 100 pounds less. um, how would I like to be remembered? As the DJ as a person in the scene, I would like to be remembered as the person who who smiled when he saw you, who always tried his best to make sure you had a good experience where you were at. Try to, if there was any issues, try to do them quietly and then enjoy the rest of your time. I had really good music. Um, and when I performed, I think I left it all on the stage. And um, to know that with conversations with people as beautiful as yourself, who are well spoken and able to have conversations with people, that they take that and just remember that he was a good speaker. Like he would just talk and be real and not be and the real version of Johnny Bravo. Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, I mean, a Mesqua comes up with these just
Yeah,
hits,
he's,
but
he's pretty witty. He's pretty witty.
absolutely, man. But like for me, honestly, being able to just talk to you, what I see beyond any public image is a human being that has grown. And realizing me and you have been in this industry for many years, and what you spoke about was honesty and on the topic of toxicity. Because I think people have to understand this. No matter how many festivals, parties, socials you danced at for hours, we are still real world people living in the real world. No
Absolutely.
matter if we are in a Granada, LA for 3 to 4 hours, once you step outside, you're still in the real world. Once you step inside, you're dealing with real world people.
Yeah.
And I think the more and more we have these type of conversations, that's where the building comes in. Because in reality, me and you have been in the same vicinities, but not had that actual one-on-one time because in our world, it's like you're going and going. Unless you're in that private hotel room with everybody and the friends,
Right.
you're not getting these moments. So
Yeah.
for me, I'd never take this for granted because most of all, I want people here to understand is that, you are Vince Torres before you are DJ Invincible, before you are this figure that people are passionate and love to go to your events and work with you.
Yeah.
You are a father, you are a family man, you are someone's son, someone's, friend.
Yeah.
And for me, that's more important than anything. And
Yeah.
again, I thank you for doing this segment.
Of course.
And now it kind of brings us to our conclusion. And for me, again, talking to you from start to finish, I see someone not just of courage, not just of caring, but a person that understands their value, understands their worth,
Yeah.
but realizes there's so much more on the horizon. And
Yeah.
for me, I'm excited to see what you have going in the future over here in New York. I'm always watching, always looking at things, and for me, again, even me reaching out to you, just seeing how you're doing on things, that's how I am. Because again, if you didn't have this, if you didn't have all this success, for me, it would be the same way. Because again, it's like we all go through things. And, for me at least, lastly, I would really love to know if you had any last few words for myself and the audience, but also you got to give us some contact info on how people can reach you and check out when's the next event.
So I think what was the first part you said again? The first part?
No, saying like any last few words, for myself and the audience at least before
Oh
we
yeah.
end.
So I guess I would say I appreciate everyone listening. I'm DJ Invincible, aka Vince Torres, and being on something like this gets to show I can actually speak about real things that happen within the scene and stuff like that. And it takes a big voice to talk about things like this, because all this cancel culture shit and stuff like that, so the fact that you're able to do this is a big deal. And the way you do it too, it's very professional, it's very to the point, and it's honest. And that's one thing I feel you'll be successful about too, because you already have been with all your other videos you've done. I've watched you, and the way you talked and everybody, and it's just being on the mic and talking is a big deal.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody who was listening. Thank you to the Granada LA. Thank you to Steven. Thank you to the whole community for just continued support. And I hope to continue to be here, if God allows it, to just keep playing for you, and being funny, and dancing and DJing and talking to people like you, man.
Thank you, man.
And
Definitely appreciate it.
You could follow me on TikTok. It's at Invincible Official. INVINCEABLE.
Good.
And then on Instagram, Invincible Official, and then Facebook, Vince Torres. And yeah, man, that's about it.
Man, honestly, again, Vince,
Simon, thank you.
Listen, I appreciate it, because again, here, this is that space. Because for me, I tell people the conversations that I'm having, many of us have had.
Yeah.
We just do it a little more private,
Right.
but this is where we bring it to the forefront constructively, because people can just say whatever they want, but if you don't have context, things get lost. Just like you said earlier, was that when having issues maybe with people online, you have to watch what you say.
Yeah.
Because that public is watching.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's about the maturity and progression of one. And it's okay to make mistakes, but it's also really how you learn from them.
Learning.
And,
I'm flawed. I make mistakes. I'm learning,
and for me, again, seeing just the success of your event that you're having, I look forward to it. I definitely, here at the podcast, we support you guys, and we'll definitely be sharing your work from days to come and years to come. And listen, guys, thank you again for tuning in to the live discussions with Diamond Podcast. I'm Diamond, here with the one and only Vince Torres, DJ Invincible, with an E, right? with the E, with the E in the middle.
And then Able, ABLE. Yeah.
And Vince Able.
Yeah.
So I I love it, man.
That'll be a little bit different.
Absolutely. But thank you guys for tuning in. We will be having another episode coming up this Saturday with the one and only Carlos Zapfire Hernandez from Zapfire Dance Studio. Listen, man, we got to make it hot here, guys. Everyone take care. Have a great night. Stay safe.